Alright, okay. Something new for today, bringing you massive value, as I was saying, all types of ways, so give thanks every time. And don't worry or stress nothing on your mind. Just relax and you will find the answers to what you search for, and you know the way to go. Just gotta take the first step. Never have to worry or fret. Don't need a backup plan. Just go the direction you want to go and let it flow. And before you know, you'll be like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? So, give thanks every time, not just sometimes. Give thanks in the good times and the bad times. Give thanks for the good times and the bad times. Give thanks for everything. I run AI. AI doesn't run I. Build fast, fail fast. Focus on ease of use, solving problems, providing value, all types of things. So get into back to what I do. If you saw last time, I created my first video with custom setup. First of many. The jam session was awesome. Really whooped a horse's ass with a belt. The crowd roared like a lion. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna go to... I know what I'm gonna do. Alright, so looking at where I left off, basically starting these new full videos, it shows you are here for me on the script, and I've got the option to read and give feedback, but it's not showing me any script. So it looks like this stuff should have been generated by now. Go ahead and generate everything for which AI model for which job. And then take a note that like this shouldn't happen in the future. I know like with the agents, hopefully that's already set up. If not, let me know, and just take a note for yourself. So in the future, like once I decide on an idea, if I'm not working the agents, if I'm doing it manual, that you go ahead and generate that stuff already. And these bugs been getting me. Yeah. Gunga la gunga. Gunga galunga. Know exactly what to do. Yeah. All right. Out of sight. Progress every day. Progress every night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. The bot warm up. Man, I gotta find the name of that bot. One of those things, I just gotta put everything on hold and figure this out real quick. I remember there was a show, and it was like a cartoon, and I think it was called like the Aqua Hunger Force. And there was a bot, and I think it was like a rabbit, but I don't remember. But I know it was like a bot. And AI keeps making me think of it, and it would just like jump around and say like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Do you know about this? Did that bot have a name? Was it a rabbit? Can you explain more? Was it like an AI bot, like a future prediction of an AI bot? Anything you can find would be helpful. I remembered it almost perfectly. Rabbot, a giant pink spray painting robotic rabbit who stomps around jumping over buildings. Rabbot barely has a functioning vocabulary, except for the days of the week, so he says it over and over. That's why. Okay. Rabbot is essentially the ultimate caricature of an autonomous agent gone completely off the rails. That's... I pretty much remembered it right. Now I don't have to think about it anymore. Move forward. Give thanks every time. My AI employee helped me to write this post, this video. It's public. It's on my account. And as of this month, Anthropic says Claude leaves an invisible watermark inside text exactly like this. Not hidden characters. It's baked into the word choices themselves. So here's the question. Can anyone take my content and prove a machine wrote it? I read Anthropic's whole explainer, and I put my own published content up against every claim in it. And the first surprise comes immediately. This post is probably not watermarked at all. Not because I did anything clever. The reason why tells you exactly how this whole system works. I'm going to show you. So basically, at first I did not know. I was like, so is everything they do, like every website they make, I was thinking that they were trying to, watermark it so that basically they can claim the work that their AI created. I'm just thinking that like Claude wants people to be aware if, a website was made by Claude, a script to a speech, something like that. And I thought it would be like a watermark, like, that like a visual watermark that we couldn't see, like printed into the words, but I was wrong about everything. So I did the research myself and I figured out what is actually going on. So I'm going to talk about how does this watermark actually work. Basically, every time Claude picks the next word when it's writing text, so it's basically only text. And text going into a website is a little bit different. I'll get to that soon. there's a little controlled randomness in the choice of text. So like for each sentence, there's a few words that, could be swapped out and it's really not going to change the context of the sentence. So you can have that random, and they use like number generators. So there's like a math to the way that sentences go together. And watermarking is going to swap that randomness for one that comes from a secret key, plus also a few words before the key. So one word choice might look completely normal, but if there is enough text across the text, the choices form a statistical fingerprint, and the only party who can check the fingerprint is whoever holds the key. So it's all about the word choices that are chosen. And the longer something is, the more variance there is to word choices. So if it's mathematically done the way word choices are selected, and you have enough script that the choices can be repeated over time, then you basically can prove, if you have the key, that that specific piece of text was generated by Claude. So you basically need the key. Nobody can see it unless you have this key. So what it is not, there's no hidden characters, no extra tokens, no change to the quality, the speed, or the cost. So nobody can see it. Everything is just going to, be generated. The quality is still going to be the same. And this was rolled out on August 2nd. So earlier this month. And here's the real reason why it came out. It was for transparency rules for AI content. And this is Europe's regulatory system that they're basically like working on right now and figuring out with AI, which is, I would have to say, so far they've made a lot more progress than the US. The US hasn't really done much with AI regulation. And I mean, it's still super early. I feel like it's really hard to get any kind of regulation right with AI unless it's like really critical, really important. I think like smaller things like this, there's going to be a lot of issues, and, this idea might not work at all. They might totally abandon this. Like, this is, I'm looking at it as something they're just trying for right now. So the new Claude models are going to carry it. Since August 2nd, any new model from Anthropic is going to have it. And the older models, over the next coming months, they're going to basically put it into it. So it's not everywhere. It's only on the models that have created after August 2nd. And for me, this is the main thing that I noticed, because basically for me, all my AI employees that are using a Claude model are using a model that was created before August 2nd. So first off, I'm like, okay, this doesn't apply to me until I start using the newer models. And even then, I mean, like, the way that I write, I'm not having AI write everything for me. I'm having it more of like an assistant. So a lot of it is like my words, my writing, me ad-libbing. So that's going to like really throw off any kind of key trying to find something like that when it's not just pure AI text. Plus, some things, I think pure AI text really shouldn't matter. Like if you're just responding to an email and you want help, I mean, if you're getting your message across and it's AI, I mean, like, I don't think that should be a problem. Someone's trying to say, the only real thing that I'm thinking is like, if you're trying to claim that, you created this music, you created this writing, but it's actually just pure AI, like, then, I mean, that would make sense. But even then, it's like, that's like, there's a lot bigger issues, I feel like, that need to be solved before this. So here's the bigger claim. The watermark is going to ship with models launched, like I said, after August 2nd. And nobody outside Anthropic can check this today. The detection API is announced but not released. So they're already starting to basically like do the stuff with the text that's going to make it so the key can detect it, but they have not released the key yet. It just says coming soon. So nobody knows when this key is going to be here, who's going to have access to it, stuff like that. And like I was saying before, I mean, the detection confidence is going to be not 100%. And the longer a text is that's pure AI, the more confident it can be that it's AI. It's not just like, 100% AI, 100% not AI. It's like a certain percent. All right, so the fade rules from Anthropic's post in order. When Anthropic released their post announcing this, so basically, here's the way that I think most people are dealing with this right now is just the order that they produce content. So basically, if you were to give Claude something you created, or give any AI that would have any kind of watermarking something you created, and you were to say, just like make the punctuation better, polish this, make it a little bit better, it's going to do that and it's going to be able to apply these watermarks. But if you have Claude create something, just Claude create like an outline or basically like something like that, then you go and then you do the ad libbing and then you just like, structure everything yourself and you do it in that order, then it's going to be like really difficult for any kind of watermark to be shown. So this is important for like how I'm actually working right now and the workflows that I have. My AI employees, the way they draft content, the way they draft or even like create videos now, creating audio. I'm having employees do new things every day, it seems like. So every draft crosses my desk. Some I send nearly as is, some I tear up and rewrite. And here's the one part that I didn't expect that I just learned. I already keep the record the watermark world is going to care about. The draft, my sent version, which words survived. The watermark tracks whose words made it to the publish, so does my ledger. So this is like a benefit to me that I can look back and I can tell my agents, okay, look at this. This piece of marketing content worked. Like this book worked. Like people liked this. So like, can you go back and can you see how much of this did I write and how much of this did AI write? Because I want to see like, where was the idea from? Like what was that central idea? So this is basically like giving me power in a way. And when it comes to code, what I found out is like it's really difficult to put this into code because with code, the way it's written, there's not so much variance as there is with just like writing normal text. So like if I'm just talking to somebody the way I'm explaining something, there can be a lot of variance. But then when it comes to code, it's really difficult to like change around the variance and have the code still work. So that's basically how I understand that now. So now I want to understand basically what does this watermarking actually prove? Because I got into a little bit earlier that it can't really prove 100%, and that's kind of like all I understood at first. So as I did more research, I found out that the most important sentence in the way Anthropic described this was they're saying a positive match proves Claude was likely involved in producing or processing the text. That's all. It's super simple. So it's basically saying it cannot prove a human wrote something. It cannot name which AI wrote something. And it cannot tell Claude wrote this from Claude heavily edited this. So it can't tell like Claude wrote this chunk, a human actually wrote this chunk. All it can do is like take one big chunk, scan it, take a small chunk, scan it, and then give like a certainty, probably like percentage, that it might be AI. So the one like really downside of this that I'm seeing, the one where, you know, people regret using AI to write something is where there's a detector. And detectors don't exist yet. And it's only in the new models. So it's really not through everything. The mark proves involvement. I already told you that my AI employees are involved. That's pretty much like what I've been working on this channel. But the main thing, the watermark can only ever confirm what I say out loud. This technology doesn't out honest operators. It outs pretenders, like I'm saying, just people who try to pass stuff off as their own when it's AI. If your whole game is passing AI work off as handcrafted, it's going to be more difficult for you to do this, more over time. But if your game is being real about it, then nothing's changed except your story got easier to prove. So, I'm looking at my prediction of like, what I understand about technology and the trends right now, and basically like where this was going. Where do I think this is going? I think that basically every major AI model is going to have some kind of detection, and it'll probably get better over time. The main reason I think is because as soon as it comes out, somebody's going to make something that is going to, trick detection. So it's like it'll just take it and rearrange it so it's harder to detect. So then the detection models are going to have to get better. I don't think this is going to go away. As long as there's like actual governments that are demanding that this is done, then that's what's going to happen. So maybe one day the governments realize, like, okay, like AI is going to be here. Like, is this really that big of a deal? And then this could all change overnight and it just goes away. But that's, I think, the main thing is it all comes down to right now. This is government regulation. If it wasn't for that, I don't think that this would even be done in the first place. So, me, my name is Nate, and this is my opinion. Just a prediction. All right, so here's the takeaway. Claude's watermark says one thing: AI was involved. I already say that louder than any watermark ever will. Whole channel is about AI. Content I'm doing is about AI. So, I feel like that should be obvious that I'm using AI in what I do in my business. I'm saying that very public. I'm not trying to like say that, like I created all this myself and AI did not help me. So the move isn't to dodge the mark. The move is to keep your own receipts, know which words are yours, and say so. That's going to be the whole defense that people can have. Against what? I don't know. That's another thing. Like, what is, in certain areas with like, if you're lying and copywriting, but like as far as regulations go, we don't know yet. So it costs nothing. This costs nothing if you're honest. If you want the exact setup I use to build with AI without being a developer, my free Claude Code starter kit is linked in the description and pinned in the comments. Make sure you go grab it. And let me know in the comments, when that API detection goes live, would you run your own content through it? Would you still create if you knew there was a watermark? Would that change anything for you? I'm going to read every single comment. Make sure, give thanks every time. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, I just finished the watermark video. I'm going to give you the file path, and I want you to do the editing and everything that goes with it. Welcome to the chat, Miles Archie. DE, respect every time. So, thank you for stopping through and telling me what's on your mind. Some of the apps I built, 30 apps in 30 days. Very first app I built was trying to build a find free parking app in the city of Chicago. And that quickly helped me learn. I did not know much about building apps. I did not understand much about APIs. What I found out was that City of Chicago made their API. They did have an API for parking stuff, but they made it super difficult to tell where any free parking was, which like I understand because the city makes money off parking, and I did not realize any of that. So after making it, then I was like, all right, like this I thought was a good idea, but now I'm understanding building better. Certain things are more difficult to do than others, and then I wanted to try fintech as an investor. I was like, let me see if I can build some apps that, can make my investing easier for myself, solve some problems that I have. And I started building like the first one, and I was like, whoa, now I have more ideas. Next thing I know, I built like 10 fintech apps, and I just finished doing all fintech apps, deciding like that's the direction I want to go for the first business. That's the first like main um app website that I'm going to build, and that was basically like based off of all the smaller apps and combining them. And I mean, each one I felt like I tried to do make more difficult than the one before. I think the most interesting thing to make that comes to my mind was probably the option spread tool. Because once I made that tool, like I realized, like, okay, like, I've learned options before, I've like read books, I know the process of learning it, I know what exists out there for tools, and that tool that I created in like one day was like so powerful for learning options and understanding options that it was like I was like, if I had this when I was learning, this would have saved me like so much time, and I would have understood everything so much quicker. And from there, I was just like, okay, there's a lot of power here. So that was the main thing. Anything you want to know more specific, feel free to ask. And welcome to the chat. Dappling, respect every time, big up yourself. Do I vibe code with coding fundamentals or no? Or yes? Yes, I do, definitely. Everything I'm trying to do it, or I should say, everything I do, I'm doing research and I'm making sure that I do it like the way it would be done by a professional. Maybe sometimes like after I learn the correct like industry way to do it, like the coding fundamental way, and I get a process down, then maybe I'll like change it to be more custom for what I'm doing. But from the start, I try to learn everything the way it's supposed to be done. And I think you know, I was already kind of doing that, but when I started building my first big website app, the main thing I quickly realized was like the scaffolding and the architecture. Like I was like, okay, like all these smaller apps I did, that wasn't really like an issue, but now I'm seeing how that is, and I'm seeing how it's super important to do it right from the start. So from then on, I was like, okay, if I do this the right way, there's probably going to be way less problems later. And I've always tried to follow follow the industry standards when I'm creating something new. I create my own operating procedures so that myself or other employees that I might hire later, AI agents that I might train and build, can follow that specific operating procedure. So option spread is amazing. Was there any same difficulty using APIs for fintech apps? Some things I'd recommend to keep in mind. Yes, definitely. The main difficulty I had with using APIs for fintech apps was the API companies not being straightforward about what they offered with their APIs. So basically, I used like the majority of the fintech APIs out there. I tried them all on that 30 apps for 30 days. You know, like I would get the first API and it would only do like, you know, maybe 80% of what it said it did like on the site. And maybe that 20% that it didn't do was like super important to the project I was doing. So then I would have to try a different API. And it seemed like every API would like not deliver everything it offered. They'd like try to get you to like, you know, pay the subscription so that you could get that thing that you needed. But then what I found was like, okay, well, different APIs work better for different projects if I'm just trying to get the free part out of it. And after using like 5 or 6 different fintech APIs, I realized like some of them are better for getting information faster. Some of them are better for getting like a longer timeline of information. Some of them are better at getting a better selection of like stocks to pick from in the data. And then I started realizing like, okay, I'm seeing where these limitations are, but now I'm finding workarounds. So say like it does like 8 out of 10 things I want it to do. I'll find the 2 things it can't do, and I'll just kind of like build my own system. So like what I did, I remember one time was like it had everything I needed in that API, except it could only go back like 2 years in time to find a history of like market prices, and I needed like 5 years. So then I just like basically went on, I think it was like Yahoo Finance, and I looked at the charts, and then I just had AI just copy the charts from like, you know, the missing 3 years, and then I just like added it on, and it solved that problem. So basically, like, be aware, try the different fintech APIs, especially, you know, if you're trying to just use it for free. If you're using paid, it probably doesn't matter that much. Just, I mean, they all have different prices, but try out the free ones, see how they do. Depending on your use case, some of them are going to work better than others. I think that's the best advice I could offer for APIs for fintech apps. Which one is more difficult, building the SaaS or marketing? Marketing. Unless, and that's assuming that like you're talking about starting in a new niche. If you've already got, like, if you're like already an influencer in a certain niche and you've got a strong following, then marketing should not be hard at all. But for the majority of people who do not have like a social media following that's super strong, and they do not have not already been marketing in that niche to know what works, and they're starting from nothing, marketing is going to be like 1,000 times more difficult than building. Even if you are have no developing, and you come from like knowing nothing about making apps, and you have to start from nothing to make it, and you want to make it perfect and get all the bugs, everything like that, I still think marketing is going to be more difficult, which is why I'm building marketing workflows and marketing agents. And now I'm seeing like how I can basically take my workflows that are custom for me, and basically like one of my workflows is like, for basically right now I'm doing all social media marketing, so they're all social media marketing workflows that will evolve into paid ads when I get more data from the social media. But the main thing I'm getting at is that I can take like my workflow for a SaaS app, and I could basically take the skeleton of it and alter it for any SaaS app business basically, and then like rebuild it for them so that it's like doing custom marketing for their business. And I'm not seeing anything that works as good as this. Closest thing I'm seeing is like the Hermes agent and the Grokbot, but there's a lot of issues that they can't do what I'm doing. Um, so basically, I'm trying to make the marketing easier. Marketing is my like main background. Out of being an entrepreneur, I've been the most like interested always in learning marketing and understanding marketing. And that's, I mean, it makes sense because business is successful if it makes money, and the main reason a business will make money is based on marketing. So marketing is super important, one of the most important things. And now with AI, like what I'm seeing is possible with marketing right now with AI is insane. As someone who's understood marketing for a long time, I'm basically like even this first workflow that I just built just for social media marketing before AI, like just like 2 years ago, I think that would have taken a team of like 10 people to do that every week. And not only that, but I think that the quality of the output that I'm getting is better than like most average marketing employees that would be humans. AI is giving me better output because I understand it. And I know when it's doing something that it shouldn't be doing, and I can correct it. And it gets better over time the way I set up my workflows. So the marketing gets better, and then over time, as it accumulates more data, it gets so much easier to be able to know what works and what doesn't work with your audience, and how to expand the business. And that can even go into like, your website design, seeing like how users use the app, collecting data in that same way with a similar workflow. So that's like the main problem I think right now that I'm solving is I got it down how to build apps. Like I feel like I could build pretty much any app. I understand that part. Now it's all about running it and running traffic to it. So definitely 1000% the marketing is more difficult than building the app. I just noticed something on the dashboard that there is no tab for scoring the each agent. So like each agent should have its own card saying what it does, preferably in the order that it lists that it works in the workflow, and then it should be able to tell like, the data, like how long that process takes for that agent, what is the cost, what is the model that's being used, and I can even like have more data, like test different models and see which model works better. Um, as much data as I can get about each agent is better. So, I know for an example, you could check out the way that the agent cards that do the tracking are set up on Stackivate project. But I would also just take your opinion on the best way to do this. And I want you to build on the dashboard. Another tab after mission control, wherever you think would be the best place to put it, that shows all the cards of the different agents. And do it whatever way you think is best with whatever like data collection you think is best, like whatever each the data is collecting about each agent. And then build it, explain it to me. I'll check it out, go over it, and let you know if I want to change anything. Welcome to the chat. Namen. Pajpai AI. Respect every time. Said, hey, quickly check this out. I'm thinking maybe you put a link in, but it's won't let you put links in the chat. So if it's like a website or something, you would just have to tell me what it's called and I can Google it. And if it's on Google, then I can check it out. Most things are good, you know. Life is all right. Give thanks for life every time. Give thanks for health and strength and vibe coding and information. Um, saying on GitHub, Matt Posock skills. We'll check that out. See what it is real quick. Are you aware of the Matt skills repo on GitHub? And what is it? So first skill, grilling. I've already the grill me. I've definitely already got that one. Issue and ticket management. I do not have the need for that yet. Planning and wayfinding. I feel like I've done something similar to that, but that looks like something good to look into more. Context handoff. Oh, just compacts long, context-heavy chat sessions into clean handoff documents. So another session agent. Oh, I do that all the time. SOPs for developers who use AI terminal agents to write and manage code. So this is definitely more for like code too. Okay. Yeah, I will definitely check this out later off stream. Like I've already done like a lot of this stuff, but I'm seeing some ways like some new things I could check out for sure. And we got the mad hamster. Respect every time to the mad hamster. Um I have no idea what you're talking about. Get hit with the goo ha. Smiggle yang. No doubt. Can you smell what I'm stepping in? I've been hitting get with that goo ha smiggle yang since I was knee high to a grasshopper. And tell me to check out Centaur by Paradigm. Check out that one. I want to know what it is. Do you know what Centaur by Paradigm is and what it does? Ah, dibble. Dibble dibbly. No doubt. Raisins and dragons. Raisins and dragons. Panty. Panty Rye. No doubt. It's on site. Reminds me kind of like Ghost riding the whip. Definitely reminds me of Raisins and Dragons. Raisins and Dragons. Paradigm crypto investment firm. This is what it's all about right here is having AI agents work as a team with a shared database and not be isolated. So this is so far what I'm reading, this is exactly what I'm doing already. Except I'm not using Slack. Ah, yeah, Mad Hamster's talking about the pouch. Ramona, she does not know a thing about the pouch. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we're gonna go to the library. But don't tell Ramona about the pouch. From what I understand, Ramona does not know a thing about the pouch. No. Some about 401k or a number two pencil. Take it. Take a 401k or number two pencil. You get put in a corner. It's like, hey, how am I supposed to get out of here? I knew it. It's really an honor to be honored as bus driver of the year. How does it feel to be honored as bus driver of the year? Well, I would have to say it's really an honor to be honored. I am honored to be honored. So Slack is how send to our agents work. Okay, so I see what it's doing, but it doesn't really, I don't see that it has workflows. Like the agents all share the information, but they're like, I'm not sure how they're going to do like bigger tasks, basically. Security and state persistence. Okay, so this seems like this is like agents mainly for coding tasks. And that's going to be more of like, I think the next workflow I'm doing is more like coding agent workflows. Because the way I see it right now is like, coding agents, most of the coding I would do like a bigger build. Like that's going to get more expensive because I would want to use a better model. So like right now, if I'm building something, I would just use my subscription with like the best model available on my subscription instead of paying for the API. Because like I'm maybe only building like a big build like maybe once a week. So like I don't need to be like, continually updating a site yet, but I can tell as I get more users, this will be like the next like major area where I'll need to set up AI agents for. Okay, so it's using Postgres, SQL. Every service is stateless. Okay, so that's interesting too. It's like more interchangeable. It's like all the agents have like access to all the tools, whereas like I'm setting up agents that have like a set task. So like each agent has the exact tools that it needs to do what it needs to do. And then I could have like a different general purpose agent, but like these coding agents, this is valuable because I have not really got into coding agents that I understand them on the same level yet as I do these marketing agents. So this is super interesting. Definitely want to understand this more, see what I can get from it for good ideas. Sandbox AI agents straight out of Slack threads. So that's the main difference is how it runs is through Slack threads. So you're like talking to it, whereas like, or it can even talk to each other. So it's like finding new things. So I think I'm seeing the main differences. And that's just goes to show like different workflows. That's why customization is so important. Different workflows, different types of agents, depending on what you're trying to do, can have like a right or wrong way that to do them that changes. That's interesting though. Going back, it allows you to only talk to one model, which coordinates other models. Where you only have to talk to one model on Slack, and it coordinates the other models. You have Cloudflare Computer attached to it as well. That's awesome. So basically, like the way I'm doing that is like I haven't built it yet, but like I would build like a manager or orchestrator layer on top of like a workflow. So right now that's basically Claude. Using Claude through the subscription. But what I'm planning on doing for like the last agent is building an agent that's on the workflow model, because like a big part of this is like I don't want to be tied down to Claude. I want this to be universal. I can use any model. It sounds like what you're talking about, this Centaur, sounds like you can interchange models pretty easily. Uh, but that makes sense. Like from like looking at a workflow, you don't want to be like trying to talk to like each agent that does like one individual type thing. You want to talk to one agent that kind of monitors the entire workflow. But this is definitely way more coding, it sounds like. So maybe I'll use this instead of building something custom for coding. Yeah, I'm gonna take a note. Do more research on Centaur. Centaur. And how it compares to the agents that I built and will be building. Centaur is like OSS, and you build your own setup from it. Interesting. So, first thing I'm wondering is, what is the cost? It's got to be something different. This one's super interesting too. There's another Centaur that's talking about predict and capture human cognition. Centaur AI. If I was building an AI company, I would not try to compete with this name. Um, it doesn't look like any of these are the one. Centaur by Paradigm. Awesome. You're saying if building for customers, you would build using Versailles. I have heard of that one. That as a free tier. Can use any and every model if you want to deploy and use it very easily within Vercel, and don't have to worry about keys. It's like an open router. All right, so this is interesting. Um, Not seeing the price. Do you know, is this open source? Okay, I got a good question for AI about this. Free and open source, that makes sense. Okay. All right, so I'm looking at this and I was planning on building some like AI coding workflows in the future. I've never built AI coding workflows before, and this seems like something that would work well with that. But right now, the AI agents that I'm building have all been marketing agents, and this seems like it would not work well for marketing agents, or at least not as well as the system I built. So I basically have a very similar system in the fact that it has like the same kind of database, the Postgres SQL, but I'm not using Slack. And I don't completely understand Slack. Basically, like I'm doing workflows, right? Where like each agent I'm building in a workflow has a specific task and it does like, a workflow, a specific workflow, and it gets better over time. So I don't really need to like talk to it. I have um like Claude subscription that helped me build this and that I can talk to as kind of like a manager, but I plan on building like an orchestrator agent to basically like be like the manager of this team that I can talk to and like reason about like, each week or each day what's going on in that department and stuff like that. So let me know, am I understanding this correctly? Do you see limitations for the Centuar when it comes to marketing or even anything outside of like coding workflows? And do a comparison on like the system I have based on what you understand and this Centuar system. Very honored to be honored as the bus driver of the year. Understanding fundamental differences perfect. So I've got more of like an autonomous event driven factory. Centuar is a human in the loop co-pilot platform. Completely different operational goals. Centuar bringing real time AI assistance into active human team chats in Slack. My user interface is the custom dashboard that I built that helps run the agents and the orchestrator agent. The Slack threads are how you control Centuar. So just talking to it, execution trigger, data events. This is what I was thinking. So basically, what it sounds like is Paradigm is basically like a basic general assistant, and it just has like where most basic general assistants don't have the database to have like the background information for your business and stuff like that. This does. Build for Centaur is more like conversational, not deterministic pipelines. So I mean, I don't see any difference between Centaur and just using VS Code and giving it the same information in the project folder. Because if you have a like multi-step task, you're still gonna have to do it one step at a time, and you're gonna have to prompt each next agent to do the next part of the task by talking to it on Slack. Whereas like I have a team that's set up and it knows, okay, this agent just got done creating this. Now the next agent knows that it has to do the next part, and I don't have to say anything. It just happens in the background. So you use it for customer support and closing GitHub tickets when they open up fixed PRs. Those definitely sound like much better use cases for this type of agent platform than what I've been using so far with the marketing. But I can tell like, customer support and closing GitHub tickets. Also, like from what I understand, the models that you need to do that are pretty cheap, and um or at least like mostly, maybe you have just like one agent model that's like a better model that just like responds to kind of like edge cases when it needs to, but like the majority of stuff can be handled by a really cheap model. And that's something where it's probably always running if you're getting a lot of business, so it's probably better on a local machine. Yes, marketing is different beast in itself. And this is a whole game right here because I'm seeing how like you need to like understand different things about, like, it's not just like one agent works for everything. Different agents with different setups with different databases are better for different types of tasks. And then you got to know like which model is the best for different types of tasks. So like there's a whole like skill set, maybe is not the best word, but the first word that came to my mind, with AI employees and AI agents and building this stuff. And I feel like that is like one of the most important and valuable skills that is like associated with AI that anybody could be learning right now. And that's why I'm like spending so much time doing this. Um because what I'm seeing is like the custom setups that I'm building is that I'm not seeing anything like it on any kind of like, even though this is open source, any kind of even paid SaaS can only do like a portion of what I'm doing. And most of them seem to be for coding tasks. So I can tell there's like a long way to go. Um, and I just understand marketing better than most other business processes. So that's why I'm like starting with marketing. But I mean, I appreciate you coming on here and having this conversation because this is helping me understand more of like, different kind of agents and like different kind of processes, they'd be better. So when it does get time to do my customer support agents, then I already know now, like, don't try to set them up the same way I set up my marketing agents. But yeah, this is all super interesting. It's seeing where this future goes and how it all turns out. What is business in general gonna look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I think very different. I think businesses will be very different structures. And the first businesses to adapt are going to get a massive advantage, and the businesses, the last ones to adapt, probably won't even survive because they're just not going to be able to compete. So that's awesome, and good talking to you, and definitely welcome back anytime. Reason about some AI stuff, and specifically AI agents. That's even better. Ramona. And raisins and dragons. Give thanks every time. 34 cents. That is what my hardest thinking AI employee got paid for its last shift. And you can see it right here on the card. It's showing the card of all my employees. Got the tokens and the cost. So this specific employee runs on one of the most expensive models on the market. You know what? I'm just going to start this one over. Give thanks every time. 34 cents. That is what my hardest thinking API. What? Yeah. Sometimes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give thanks every time. So 34 cents. 34 cents. That is what my hardest thinking AI employee got paid for in its last shift. It runs on one of the most expensive models on the market. And I put it on that model on purpose. So you can see right here is the card showing all my different AI employees in the first workflow that I built out. So this is a weekly workflow. Each agent has its own card. Shows how many tokens it burns, shows how much it costs to run each run. Some other information too that I have to go with each agent. So if you want to look at that, you can see, but you can also see some of these other agents, they do not have a cost. So it's like, why is that? How can it be working and how can it be no cost? You can see 4 different cards all say 0. They worked all week and the thinking bill is nothing because they do not think at all. This is the same fleet. It all runs on the same $5 server, $5 a month. 8 different employees so far, 3 different price tags. The expensive brain, the mid-priced brain, and no brain at all. So which employee gets which comes down to one question I ask before any of them gets hired. Does this job actually need a brain? If you get that part wrong, then you're going to be paying genius rates for just regular copy and paste work. But if you get it right, your whole AI payroll fits inside the price of a coffee. So I'm going to walk you through every job here on this workflow, the cost, and understanding the model. So this is all about understanding the right model. Which model for which job? The operator skill nobody teaches. The skill that decides what you pay. And I will get on to also my prediction of where this skill is going to be evolving to. So, the counterintuitive core said plainly, the internet argues about which model is best. This seems to be like the main thing that is up to comparison with AI is the AI models. And I mean, that's obvious. That makes sense. Which model is best? And different models work best for different things. So, I mean, you could say one model is best at a certain task, and you could have a cheaper model that's better at another task. So, there's a lot of context to this, and this all goes into this skill. Nobody tells you that half the job in a real business system needs no model at all. This is something I think a lot of people don't understand, that sometimes the best model is no model, but understanding the best model is a very important skill. Job by job, on the $0 one line each, the outlier hunter searches YouTube for the niches breakout videos. This is an API called math, does not need any model. It's just carrying information, bringing it to another agent. The outcome tracker agent has snapshots of how content performed into the database. It's just copying numbers, no model. The comment poster, it drops the CTA comments on new videos. Posting is posting. All it's doing is posting, so there's no model for this. It's just doing its job. The packaging scorer fills the click-through rates from the analytics API. It's only reading a meter. There is no model. I could put models in these and it would do the same thing, but I would be paying. But I don't need to do that. And it's because I know, because I've been working with these. And sure, I could just tell like Claude on my subscription, go and post this. Go and take this analytic data and then like give it to this other dashboard, give it to this agent. I mean, I could do that and it would charge me just through my subscription. But when I have a specific workflow that I'm doing, why sit there and manually ask that and wait for it to be generated, wait for Claude to cook, when I know it's already going to do the same thing each week and it can just run in the background. And then also getting better each week. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. So here is the thing that shocks people the most. My report writer is almost on this list. It writes the Monday State of the Business report, and the numbers are pulled by playing code because the numbers already exist. There's nothing to think about. It pays for exactly one thought a week. The judgment paragraph at the top. The one sentence a hype report would never write. Code does the copying. The model does the judging. One employee is split down that line. So to explain this in a different way, it's basically it's taking information to generate an output. So the output really doesn't need to do any thinking because it already knows the information and it already knows the correct way to structure the information. So it really doesn't need to think. Once it has the information, it already knows how to structure that information. So that's why the model does the judging. So an API call just means my code asks another computer for the numbers directly. There's nothing to think about, so there's nobody to pay. Some agents will just do one simple API call. And then you have other general agents that might do multiple things. But usually these general agents, you're going to be paying. Usually. And I mean, this stuff is all new. It's going to evolve and it's going to change over time. But a main rule that seems to keep coming up is when the job is all about plumbing, it just gets code. When the job is about a judgment, it gets a model. Every job where the right answer already exists somewhere, I can wire the pipeline. The model only shows up where judgment is the job. So, the model only shows up where judgment is the job. And to make this even better, many of the jobs require my judgment. So, how do I know where to use my judgment or where to use a model? That's another thing. And that only comes from experience. That only comes from working with AI. That only comes from understanding your workflow and your task and having done it and already knowing the standard operating procedure for doing it. So, I mean, you could just guess and you could like end up getting whatever output you get, but are you going to know if it's the best? You're not going to know until you test different options. So the next thing I want to get to is which agent gets which brain. So we've got different agents that need different brains. Some don't need any brains. How do you know when it does need a brain, which model to use for which brain? Because obviously, like, different models are going to have different powers, different brain power, the main power. So when I honestly mix all this together with my workflow, I have the researcher that reads the whole lane every week and has the main content ideas that don't require me. This runs on the top shelf model. So what I found is like, this is like the head of the pipeline. That model is super important because that model feeds information to every other model. So if you have just the best model and you only want to have the best model in one place, most workflows, it's going to make the most sense to have it at the beginning of the pipeline. It's going to give you the best quality output. That's going to transfer onto everything else. Not to mention, if it's a good model, there's way less chance of a failed run where you'd have to like still pay and then run it again. So the two drafter agents I have, they run on the mid-priced model, but still all drafts cross my desk. I manually approve everything. That part will never change. And because of that, I see the different models. So I know like, okay, this, mid-priced model is fine. It's doing the same quality because it's using my data of my brand voice anyway. So the difference I see in like the expensive brain model and the mid brain model is really like I barely even notice it. And I'm changing it anyway into like more of my own words. So it's getting changed anyway the majority of the time. So, I was talking about why the first agent gets the best brain. And basically, I do not start cheap on a judgment seat. I start on the best and let the receipts argue me down. I start on the best, do the tests, then I try the next least one. Do it once, do it right. If the cheap model gives me a good research report 1 time out of 5, I still have to pay 5 times. And then there's the time that goes into that. I mean, I could set up another agent to like, automatically notice this agent failed, have it start again. But then that's time going into setting up extra agents to make sure that like agents aren't going to fail when I could just get a better model in the first place and I don't even have to worry about the agent failing. At least like barely. So a bad research week can cost me days of creating the wrong content. That's another thing. I mean, you want good quality of what you're putting out. The drafters don't get the best. Drafting from my own words is a smaller thinking job. The source material is just my answers, my numbers, my voice rules. The model is assembling, it's not discovering. This only needs to be a mid model because of that. Like I was saying, this is the per seat call. And I've showed you some of the receipts. Basically, I've had 5 research shifts since about mid-July when I started this. And that's with the like highest model brain agent. 22 to 34 cents has been the cost range for each different run. The lifetime thinking bill across every log shift has been about a little bit less than $2. This is the whole brain budget of this business so far. And of course, this is just getting started. I started like doing the very basic thing of the task. And as it starts working, I found out what works. And then I try to add more to it to make it better. And, as I add more to it, the price goes up. So usually it's going to be the cheapest at the beginning. Then I think like the price is going to go up. And then as you start fine tuning it, should be able to get the price go down and keep the quality the same, if not make it better. So shifts are going to be getting more expensive because the agent will think more per shift. Deeper research, more notes. As I had to do more and better research, seeing how I can get better, but I didn't know that until I first started using it to know I could get better. So that made the paycheck go up because his output went up. But that's good. Like, I'm good with that. Like, I mean, 10 cents more for like way better information that's gonna, marketing. Super important to the business. Don't want to take any like cutting corners with that. So as of this week, every employee's shifts are metered, so the drafters' price tags fill in as they work. What I will not do is quote a number before the meter has logged it. So I recently did a whole video on DeepSeek payroll math. If you want the price shift for that specific DeepSeek, you can see how like checking out different models have different payroll math and like comparing them. I talked a little bit more on like comparing different models too, so I'm not going to go back like more into detail on that now. So this is my research employee talking to any AI model, and this comment is the whole point. Swapping models is one setting. Usually in the ENV means like you can just set up a switch, just like changing a contact in your phone. No code changes ever. Claude built it that way because I asked for the decision to stay cheap to change. So what matters the most for this particular skill? Picking a model is not permanent. When a receipt says a cheaper model can handle the job, the swap only takes like a minute or less, so I never have to guess ahead of the evidence. Every shift logs its tokens to the shared database. Costs get calculated when I read it at the current prices that they are. So tokens are just the words the model reads and writes. It is billed by the word, basically. That's how tokens work. My dashboard does the math, so the payroll page is always honest. And I mean, there's other things that, you don't know, like maybe a new model or an old model will have a discount. And in the past, that model was like, not good to use. It would cost more and it wasn't worth like the extra cost. But now maybe for like the next month, there's a discount on it and it does make sense. So that's when you have to be like aware of all the different models so you know real quick when to make a change when the change is called for. So real quick, the 3 questions you want to ask yourself with each agent. Does the job need a brain at all? What does a wrong answer cost? And what do the receipts say? Make sure you're metering and tracking everything. So now I want to get into my prediction. Basically, I think that model picking is going to become a skill that is super important to every business. I think that within the next 3 years, AI workflows, AI employees is going to be implemented so heavily that if your competitor has it and you don't, you're not going to be able to compete. It's going to cost you too much. You're not going to be able to keep up. It's going to be like night and day. It's going to change business so much. And it's not about replacing people. It's about making people be more effective and have better quality. So it's about getting more out of your employees. It's about making sure your employees have the right tools and understand this. So right now, a lot of business owners don't even understand this. So how do they know if they're hiring the right people? This is going to be where it's super important. When they can see that a person can come in, set up systems in their business, pick the right models, have everything running correctly. I think those people are going to be like the highest priority, like most valuable roles for businesses, especially over the next like 3 to 5 years. So I also think like, you know, these agents, as long as we still have the same trend where like the agent updates come out like at least once a month, the best models from a month ago are just going to be super cheap, and they're going to get cheaper and cheaper as time goes by. The more new models come out, the more the older models are going to get cheaper. And in a lot of jobs, if you understand the correct model, you will understand that you do not need to keep like using the newest, latest model. You're totally fine with an older model. So routers, I think, will be able to get better at picking models. A lot of them don't even pick models at all right now. I think operators are going to set the policy. So, you know, it's all coming down to like we run AI. AI doesn't run we. We got to be the ones that run the AI. You know, we run the AI that runs our businesses. We can run the AI that runs whatever we want to do. But you do not want to put AI in the spot of running your business. You do not want to give AI the important decisions. That is something that you got to know. Like, it's not just which model to use for which task, but which task should you not use a model at all. So here's the main takeaway. Stop asking AI which AI model is best. Ask which job in your business even needs one. Give the judgment jobs the best brain you can buy. Meter everything. Keep the swap one setting away. That's the whole skill. And it is a thinking skill, not a coding skill. This means you can start using it today. If you want the exact setup I use to build all of this without being a developer, check out my free Claude Code starter kit. It's linked in the description and pinned in the comments. So go ahead, check it out. Tell me in the comments which job in your week needs a brain and which one just needs a pipeline. I'm going to read every single one. Give thanks every time. I'll see you in the next one. Looking at the chat. Welcome back. Passion Brains. Respect every time. You are correct. I am building something very extraordinary, completely from scratch. Trying to make you know, putting my soul into it, trying to make it so it's like my own style, trying to do my best to not like to know what else is out there, but to not copy and just like create my own thing, my own creation, and just keep making it better. So respect on recognizing that. Definitely going to keep pushing forward every day, every line of code, every video, every piece of marketing, every update. It's all gonna take me one step closer. So what do I think if you start? I'm not sure if something got, oh, here we go. Building an AI psychologist grounded in real psychological literature, turning academic wisdom into an empathetic digital guide. You will feed it the right books and watch it become a powerful tool. I can tell already this is a good idea to help others heal and grow. I think that's a great idea. I think that's one of the areas of AI that can be better than actually like humans. Like how I'm doing, like I'm seeing that like financial advice, like AI to me, in my opinion, is better than a human. Like AI has so much more information. I'm like, why would I go to a human financial advisor if I know how to prompt AI correctly? It's better. Same thing with the psychology. Real voice agent AI psychologist. That is a very good idea. I think main thing is like, do you want to do it like one size fits all or like specific use cases? Definitely do like research what's already out there. I know a lot of people use AI, just basic LLMs for psychology stuff. You would definitely want some kind of like database so that it remembers stuff about people. But I think the main thing I've seen with any kind of like psychologist type communication I've done with AI is that AI is way better at picking up patterns than humans are, and AI doesn't have to worry about um, telling you the truth, because a lot of times the truth is like an offense and it hurts people. So like a psychologist in real life, they got to be real careful about like how they present information across to people, because if they, make them upset, then they'll just quit. But AI, it's like it doesn't have to worry about that. Like it can just be like super direct. And maybe that's not the best approach for everybody, but I mean, definitely that's going to be like a huge niche. I would highly recommend like that niche being very high potential. Um, Regulations are going to be really big on that. I'm sure there's tons of regulations when it comes to like psychologists, data, data being private. There's going to be definitely like a whole list of things for like that niche that are going to be like extra steps you're going to have to take. But I think like the future of AI psychologist is going to be major. So many people want to be able to like just talk to their psychologist like whenever they feel like they need to, not just like, once a month or week or whatever. So you're going to record books in a database like a RAG vector embedded, and people can ask and start conversations, and database remembers all. Definitely. You can take like tons of psychology books. And this is why I'm thinking like maybe it would be better to have like, like one like not just like a general purpose psychologist, but to do like a family psychologist or like a trauma psychologist or like different areas. So then you can like just give it that books on like that one area of psychology. These days in your area, psychologists just for human talk cost about $100 an hour plus. Definitely. And that's about what they charge for the I think your main competitors would probably be the what is it, like the BetterHelp, the online psychology platforms. Like those still like hook people up with real people. And I mean there probably are some certain benefits. I don't know psychology that well. There probably are benefits to like talking with a real person. Maybe even, you know, you could make some kind of SaaS that would help psychologists better with their patients. I mean, there's a ton of different possibilities here. So, like, you've definitely found what I think would be a very good niche, and I would even like if I had the extra time right now, I would even like research in finding some business idea here. But just don't have the time right now. Gotta focus on one business at a time. So let's see. Looks like there was some kind of API error. Um, can you check over and fix that error and finish the whatever task you were doing, and then let me know what the problem was and if there's any possible way to prevent it in the future. Anything else you might be able to think of that would help me understand this. Yeah. Welcome back, Had3, or Haddis. I remembered, it's Haddis. That's right. I was like saying Had3 for a while, man. And you were like, one day, it was like, no, dude, it's Haddis. I was like, oh. But either way, respect every time. What's on your mind today? What have you been working on? What's new? Yes, it is Haddis. I'm doing good, you know. Grateful for a lot of things. Life's never perfect, but not wishing for life to be easy. Wishing for me to get better in life so everything feels easy and I make it look easy. Yeah, man, it's been a while. Definitely noticed like there was like a whole group of people, um, like my day one people that when I started out, I remember you and maybe like 5 to 10 other people, and really like for the most part, maybe like you and like 2 or 3 other people still stop in to like check in every once in a while. But you know, I'll always remember the people that were there from the beginning, the day ones. Definitely life's not always easy. But you know, if it were always easy, then we would all get too weak. We'd all get so weak. And no, like you want to get stronger in life. You want to get better. Like that's, you know, the balance. That's why I'm always like, give thanks for the good and the bad. Because the bad's always got something to teach you. Like it's always like, I feel like even when bad things happen, there's a reason. Might even be karmic, might even be whatever, but it's all trying to like teach you to learn some kind of lesson. And it's going to keep repeating in your life. And maybe even the next life if that's how it works. So that's why you just got to have these hard times to get better. Yes, we need challenges, no doubt. So like vibe coding, like these new agent, like once I figured out like how to build these apps and like pretty much like the basics of building to where I felt like I could build everything, it was like I lost part of like my like motivation and my drive. Like it was because it was like, all right, I figured it out now. Like the like mystery was kind of gone. So now I started building these agent teams, and it's like a whole new game. It's like brand new stuff to figure out, brand new like understanding. Um, much more I feel like building these customized agent teams workflows is much more difficult than building out like an app. And you know that like has been a lot of motivation finding the new thing. And then once I get this down, you know, just started even doing video, customized video making basically. You have not been doing too much work at all. Well, you know, I've had times in my life where I've done nothing for like months at a time, and just like I remember one month I did a challenge. Yes, what like one of the months where I did in my life. This was probably like I think this was like 2017. I remember I stayed on the Vegas Strip for like a month and a half maybe. But basically I went out to the like big clubs out there like every night for like a month straight for 30 days straight. Didn't work at all. I would just go out, I would just like go to the club. I was with like a group of other people. We would just go out like 8 o'clock, stay out till like 3 or 4 in the morning, and do the next thing again every day. And just I would just go and talk to people. And I did not work at all that month. My work was just going out to the clubs and talking to people. And I think that did more for me than like any other month in my life. Like social skills and like just human, like communicating with humans and stuff. I've spent months where I've just like traveled around, like just surfing every day, mountain biking every day, snowboarding every day, done no work. But that stuff has like cleared my mind to like know the next step. So I guess where I'm going is it's like some phases might be like really heavy in work and then it's like no work at all, but it all balances out. So you just don't want to be working at the moment, no doubt. And I mean, if you don't have to, then you don't have to. That's awesome. Let's see. See if I can show this video though. So I don't think I showed it last night. Like I just finished it last night, and this is my first video that I just made yesterday. Um, in 1981, a Harvard cardiologist. Yeah, did it. So here goes my first video that I made. Made my own, basically made my own custom video generation software. In 1981, a Harvard cardiologist packed thermometers and climbed into the foothills of the Himalayas to test a claim that shouldn't survive a thermometer. For centuries, stories had come out of Tibet about monks who practiced something called Ji-Tummo. The word roughly means inner fire. The stories say these monks could sit in freezing rooms in wet sheets in the snow and stay warm, not endure the cold, generate heat with nothing but their breath and their attention. There are old accounts of it being used as a test. A young monk, the legend goes, would sit outside on a winter night while sheets were dipped in icy water and draped over his bare shoulders, and he'd dry them, sheet after sheet, until morning. That's the legend anyway. Legends are easy, thermometers are not. Which brings us back to the cardiologist. His name was Herbert Benson, and he was about the least mystical person you could send up that mountain. This is the Harvard doctor who spent his career studying how rest changes the body. He's the one who coined the term the relaxation response. With the Dalai Lama's permission, he and his team were allowed to do something no one had done before, put instruments on Tummo monks while they practiced. See this spelling error. And he was until morning. That's the legend anyway. Legends are easy. If there was a spelling error, then I missed it. Brings us back to the but if you saw it, feel free to let me know. Herbert Benson, and he was about the least mystical person you could send up that mountain. This is the Harvard doctor who spent his career studying how rest changes the body. He's the one who coined the term the relaxation response. With the Dalai Lama's permission, he and his team were allowed to do something no one had done before, put instruments on Tummo monks while they practiced. Thank you, I'll check that out. Room in Upper Dharamsala, India, 3 monks sat down, began the practice, and the thermometers moved. The temperature of their fingers and toes rose by nearly 15 degrees Fahrenheit, 8.3 degrees Celsius, as the paper recorded it, while sitting completely still in the cold. The results weren't published in a spiritual magazine, they were published in Nature, one of the most rigorous scientific journals in the world. A few years later, Benson's team documented something stranger. Monks draped in sheets soaked in 49-degree Fahrenheit water. In a room at 40, where you or I would be shivering, steam began to rise off the sheets. Within about an hour, the sheets were dry. Each monk dried 3 of them, one after another. Now, here's the part most videos about this leave out, and honestly, it's my favorite part. In Benson's study, the monks' core temperature didn't change. The heat was in the skin. They were opening blood flow to their hands and feet on command. Remarkable, but not the legend. Then in 2013, researchers went back with better instruments. They found that during the forceful breathing phase of Tummo, core body temperature really did rise into the range of a mild fever. And And here's the detail I can't stop thinking about. When they taught just the breathing technique to Western volunteers, people with no monastery, no lineage, no belief, their core temperature rose too, less, and within normal limits. But it moved. So the honest picture is this: no one has measured a monk melting a snowfield. That stays legend, and it deserves to be told as legend because it's a good one. What's measured is a person turning up their own body heat using attention and breath in a dial most of us have never touched. The legend shrank under the thermometer. What survived is still one of the most remarkable things a human body has been recorded doing on purpose. And that's the real point. Not the monks, not the sheets. It's that a tradition mapped a connection between mind and body centuries before we had instruments to check. And when we finally checked, the connection was there. Smaller than the story, real enough to publish. Your body is listening to your mind far more literally than you think. That's worth understanding about your own system. If you want to go deeper into that, we wrote a short, free guide called The Missing Layer. It's about the part of you your devices can't see. Links below. And if you'd rather just watch more stories like this one, that's what this channel is for. See you in the next one. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. I will definitely be making more. That's like the first one, so I can definitely make it better each time, I feel like. And like I just like making those videos, like telling the story part of it. Like not actually like building the video and producing it, but like telling the story. And I want to be able to get better and better at that. And I think that's like really good marketing because I'm not just like pitching the product. I'm more like providing value in stories that help people understand like what they're capable of, and then direct them to how they can use my product or service to increase their abilities. All right, I'm gonna check out more detail on those on that new tab later, and I'll let you know. But for right now, I just finished making the video for which model to use. I'm gonna paste the file path here. I want you to do the edits and everything that comes with it. Okay, so now that you have a better understanding of like what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do, and I'm getting a better understanding of how like different tasks need different workflows and like different tasks need different agents. This is being more clear to me. So I did not understand this earlier. I thought it was more of like agents were like one size fits all. Most people talk about agents as like, you know, general assistant type Hermes agents and stuff like that. But somebody I know, the only other like friend I have that actually is like building this stuff out, has been talking to me about what I'm doing and trying to tell me that like basically like I should just be like running like 6 different terminals at the same time. And that's like basically their words are basically they're saying that I should be running like 6 different Claude terminals at the same time. I told them how like I'm making my um AI employee workflows. He's saying like those don't work as good, not even close. I'm like, in what ways? You know, because from everything I'm researching, it sounds like what I'm doing for this particular workflow is the best way to do it. Um, so he's saying with more windows, I got more agents building the custom workflows. And then I'm like confused, like, how does that make sense? Because I already have it set up like in the cloud, the agents running. And I'm trying to tell him like, you know, my workflows are like I can't just run everything like on top of each other. Like I do the first step and it needs that to be done to do the next step, and then it needs that to be done to do the next step. So I still have to like wait, even if I was doing it manually in the terminal. So I'm like thinking like, why does he think it's still better to do manually in the terminal, and telling me it's like better to have 6 different windows? So I'm trying to tell him like, you know, each step needs to be done before the next can do. I can't just like, you know, do the whole thing at one time. He's saying if you're just doing steps, then turn the steps into goal prompts and run them autonomously one after the next. Then your jobs can be making goals for steps. A business needs like 8 different compartments. I'm building one feature in one compartment at a time. I could have 20 tabs and 6 windows building out all the other features in all the other compartments. And it just seems like I don't really understand what he's saying, and like he doesn't understand what I'm saying. Or maybe I'm just the one that's confused. But Like I'm trying to ask him like how is specifically his way better, and like he's going into telling me that I should be turning like doing steps and turning them into goals prompts and then run them autonomously. But it's like not answering my main question I have. And like, in what ways does he think it's better? So maybe you can like help me understand this. If you see anywhere I'm confused or not understanding something, that you could help bring any clarity to this. I'm like just lost. It just the more the conversation goes, the more I'm feeling lost. I'm trying to come back to like how is this better? And I'm not getting that answer. That's what I thought. I thought okay, so it's got to be he's just thinking that like all agents are the same, and that's why he's giving me advice based on his workflow. And I'm telling him, no, they're not all the same. Like my workflow is different. This is the best setup for my workflow. And he must be, so that would make, that's what I'm thinking. It would make so much sense if he's just assuming that all agents are the same. Yeah, this is, that's probably what's going on. Okay. Anyway, no big deal. But I would have to say, I'm thinking this is about it for today. I mean, once it's done processing this video, it's just like, really boring stuff. Just me like posting things and, I want to get everything done for the off stream work. Come back for the next stream and be building something new. So that's what I got to do. So thanks to you. Every time, give thanks to the audience for providing value to me and for me to be able to provide value to you. And I hope you got a lot of value off of what I had to say and do. Make sure to go ahead and like up the like button. Get the algorithm to push the video out to more people, provide more value. That's what it's all about, without a doubt. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm coming through with new information steady. And back to the comments. Have a fantastic evening. Definitely same back to you. And good to see you every time. Haddis, respect. So, you're in tune to the station of the Vibe Coding Nation with no regulation. We just build whatever we want. As long as it's providing value, it makes sense to build it. So, that's it for today. I'm out. All right, I'll do an encore today so I can think of something more to say, which would be respect every time, peace and love. It's all about giving thanks to the Most High for creation, because we're the creators, not the imitators. Staying in the light, doing what's right. No reason to fuss or fight. Providing value. So, that's the encore. I'm out.